Story 1. I am kind of unpleasant sometimes. Okay. Could you please stop? Story 2. It's not my fault. For things that are indeed their fault. People have literally zero personal responsibility these days. Story 3. Nobody told me. At a certain point, it is your responsibility to educate yourself. Story 4. As a staff manager, I got stuck in traffic. Every day, every single shift. You are arriving 20 minutes late because of traffic? Maybe you need to rethink when you start your commute. To clarify, I am very flexible with my staff, and occasionally arriving late does not bother me. However, I have 2 people who are stuck in traffic 3 out of 4 shifts a week. Story 5. Every time I hear someone blame being bipolar disorder for their awful behavior when it is clear they do not actually know what bipolar disorder is. Story 6. We are experiencing an unusual call volume. No, you are not. Story 7. He is just a child, and you are an adult who does not know how to educate him. Story 8. He is from another time. Adapt, change, learn, evolve, or just exit the program. All good with me. Story 9. That's just how I am. Yeah, keep making excuses for being difficult and see how well that turns out. That's not how we do it here. Yes, and that's why others are outperforming you. But that's not. This was my favorite in customer service and technical support. You called me for help, and now you want to tell me how to do something. Good luck with that. Oh, and my recent favorite, a court said, yes, a court in the past said that slavery was acceptable, that beating your wife was fine, and that sexual assault was not sexual assault unless the attacker thought it was. Courts are often wrong and things change. Story 10. AI makes art accessible. No, you are just lazy and not creative. There are plenty of disabled artists you are insulting with that behavior. If you cannot make art without your plagiarism tool, that is a skill issue. Story 11. He is autistic. He cannot help it. This phrase is used when people do bad things they know are not okay. Story 12. It's just how I was raised. This phrase seems like an excuse from people who refuse to take the time to grow and learn new things. Story 13. I am just a girl. It is becoming increasingly popular and more annoying day by day. Story 14. Management blaming employees for issues everyone warned them about months ago, preaching about accountability while taking none for their actions or, in most cases, inaction that directly caused the problem. Story 15. I have obsessive-compulsive disorder. I call this the wear your crutch like a crown excuse. It is extremely lazy. Story 16. You're not actual diagnosable condition that isn't immediately visible. You're just lazy. No, my diagnoses are not excuses. They are explanations. If I am too sore or have no energy to do it, I cannot do it. Stop assuming everyone has the same capabilities as you. Story 17. I work in complaints handling, and you would be surprised how often I hear, I did not read it, when I mention terms and conditions. Story 18. I am just so busy. Nobody is too busy for someone they actually want to spend time with. Story 19. I did not tell you because I do not want you to get hurt. Story 20. I didn't mean to. Okay, but then why do you keep doing it? Story 21. I cannot help being brutally honest. No, you enjoy the brutality. Story 22. I am just telling you the truth. No, you are expressing your opinion, and 9 out of 10 times it is one I do not care to hear. Story 23. I can tell the difference between someone who is actually trolling for fun and a person just pushing buttons so they can play the victim when they get put in their place. Story 24. God works in mysterious ways. Now, he either does not exist or he is a cruel, psychopathic person. Story 25. I just cannot do it, when the person actually means, I do not want to do it. Story 26. I know this will be controversial, but traffic is not always a valid excuse. People use it too often when there has not been a major accident or incident. You should have left the house earlier. Story 27. Absolutely any type of pseudo-trending mental issue, all of them. Story 28. Oh, I forgot. Once or twice, sure. As a forgetful person myself, I get it. but to be used repeatedly at this point means you are forgetting to think of a better excuse. Story 29. My computer died or my hard drive failed. I have had probably 20 hard drives in my life, some running right now 15 years after release, and have never seen one fail suddenly. I know it happens, but it is not common. Yet, to hear it from some of the people I work with around deadline time, it is hard to go 6 months without a hard drive failing and wiping out everything on your system with no backup. Then somebody else has to pick up the slack. Story 30. I'm busy. The people who say this always act like they are the only ones with responsibilities. I am a residential housekeeper, and occasionally, I encounter a house that is beyond normally dirty. The excuse is always, we are just so busy. Obviously, as a housekeeper, I do not expect to clean houses that are already clean. But I am talking about pure laziness that has led to filth. Not hoarding, not depression, just laziness. People are busy all over the planet, yet somehow they manage not to live in squalor. Story 31. When they ignore texts for days. Sorry, I was busy. Oh, sorry, I just saw your message. Or, I am never on my phone. While posting all over social media and responding to strangers. Work has been crazy. As someone who has worked some intense jobs with barely a moment to breathe, I always responded to people, even if only with, hey, crazy day, we'll get back to you in a bit. As the saying goes, I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. Story 32. We do it this way because we have always done it this way. Story 33. If I had an extra $250,000, I would have become a doctor too. Sure, nobody goes to school and takes out loans. That is the reason you did not do it. Story 34. It is because of my mental health. Take some responsibility. Many people have mental health issues, but not every person uses it as a crutch and an excuse. Story 35. I work at an oral surgeon's office. I am told repeatedly, I was told to get this tooth out 6 months to 2 years ago, but it wasn't bothering me. Now my tooth is killing me, so I need it out. If your dentist tells you that you need a tooth extracted, get it removed. Any dentist will try to save a tooth, either because they make money or because they care about their patients. Extraction is the last resort, so if that is what they recommend, there is no saving the tooth. It is better to take care of it before it becomes very painful and infected. Story 36. It was a mistake, is often said when someone is caught cheating. No, it was a choice. A mistake is when you add sugar to a recipe that requires salt because you weren't paying attention to which one you started pouring. You don't accidentally fall into an intimate situation after you and the other person suddenly lost your underwear the moment you got to their place. Story 37. When a sentence is split with but, it eliminates the first part of that statement and tells me you are not being truthful. Story 38. After you have reminded someone and they say, oh, I forgot. Story 39. You are so lucky. I was thinking of doing X too. Commenting on another person's successful career or business. It kind of feels discrediting, like all your hard work didn't really matter in your success, and it was just down to luck, not you creating chances through hard work. The other person is trying to bring you down to their level by saying they can do it too, but didn't because they are not as ambitious as you, using some XYZ excuse. Story 40. I am bad with technology only because I am too lazy to learn how to use something that is essential in daily life, like email. Story 41. I'm just a girl. I know some use it as a joke, although I don't find it funny. Lately, I've seen girls actually use that excuse and I'm like, you. Story 42. I am like this and I will continue like this. It is clear that the role of an idiot suits you perfectly and you do not want to waste your time or experience. Story 43. He is just a boy. No, you have raised a younger person with bad behavior than yourself. Do not blame the entire gender for your poor parenting. Story 44. I'm intolerant of certain foods or food ingredients. I mean, yes, some people have serious health issues, but not everyone. Also, I can't recall anyone I know who has a food allergy and shares that personal health information with strangers. Story 45. I have had multiple people with chronic pain or health issues use being in pain as an excuse to behave poorly. I do not like that at all. Story 46. We do not have enough staff. and we are very busy right now. Story 47. When I hire a contractor and they call the morning they are supposed to start saying their truck broke down. The number of times I have heard this is absolutely infuriating. Story 48. I was really busy when they were supposed to do something for you. All that means is that they prioritized other things before your task. If I were a dictator, I would ban the word busy. Story 49. That's just who I am. Someone making an excuse for their poor behavior. Story 50. I am on my menstrual period. That does not mean you get to treat everyone around you poorly. Story 51. I didn't have enough time. I make this excuse a lot. Time management is very important. Story 52. I conducted my own research. Unless you have a fully equipped laboratory in your basement and a Doctor of Philosophy degree, you did not conduct the research. You probably did not even read other people's research. You read internet nonsense. Story 53. I do not have time. All you have is time. You are just choosing not to make time for something. Story 54. That's not my problem. If I felt the need to say something, then yes, it is your problem or about to become your problem. Story 55. I made a poor or selfish choice because I was young. Story 56. They are just like that. That is just their personality. I really hate that. Story 57. Excuses made to mitigate the consequences of their behavior, when what they ought to be doing is apologizing. That is some 10-year-old trying to get out of trouble behavior, not an adult taking responsibility for their mistake, and I am all set. Story 58. Hot take introduces the most basic, widely accepted opinion. Story 59. I am in the military and I hear, I would have joined, but I do not care, and I mean that in a nice way. It is not for everyone. You did not join because you did not want to? Great. It is your life and you control it. So do not make it awkward. Story 60. They say they have mental health issues to avoid taking responsibility for their unpleasant behavior. Story 61. It's always been this way. We have always done it like this. Okay, and that doesn't mean you still have to do it this way. It is indeed possible to change things. Story 62. I have a friend who tells you all about her personal life, things nobody wants to hear, especially from a 70-year-old. Then she says, if you don't like me, that's fine. No, grow up. That is not fine. Story 63. I was just saying maybe you should not be. Story 64. But that is not fun. No, life is meant to be fun. You are going to have fun times and bad times. That is not a choice you can make. People who think they can make that choice are the biggest fools imaginable. Your life is always highs and lows, and the deeper the low is, the higher the high will be. There will be a low, deep point after. And that is life. Deal with it. Story 65. I do not have time. This can be true, and I am guilty of it as well, but I usually hear it in the context of going to the gym, working out, wanting to read a book, and so on. However, I often hear the same person talk about how good the newest season of a television show was, or see them extremely active on social media. That is all valuable time that could be spent doing these activities. These people do not have children either. I do, and time is more difficult to come by, but even then, I could go to bed earlier and wake up early for the gym. I just do not, even though I should. It is not a time issue. It is a personal issue. Story 66. My autism. My attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. By a self-diagnosed 28-year-old. Story 67. But I'm not you. Yes, I understood that part when you said something that upset me in the first place. Story 68. That's just who I am. Oh, so you're a bad person. Got it. Story 69. It was a joke. I used to do this a lot until I realized I was just being unpleasant. I wanted to place objective or goal here, but I just don't have time, resources, or other necessities. There are some people who are truly limited by their situation, but I feel most people simply do not want to do what they feel they need to do. Story 70. I want to, but I can't. I remembered a case where my ex didn't talk to me alone. I asked him, what is it? Why are you always silent when I'm trying to talk to you about something? He said, yeah, I want to, but I do not know what to say, so I can't. I won't talk about other cases, but in such moments I think, God, seriously. Story 71. Migraines. Does no one get headaches anymore? I have a migraine. Oh, be quiet. Story 72. If you cannot tolerate me at my worst, then you do not deserve me at my best. So basically, I should feel grateful the very few times you act like a normal human being who treats people with decency. Story 73. It is his attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Why my nephew does not communicate with me. Story 74. Was late because of the heavy traffic jam, as if it is a rare occurrence. Story 75. I did not know when there is no reason they should not know or look it up themselves. Story 76. I have been very busy. We are all very busy. That is life. Story 77. I do not have enough time to self-improve, cook, or do other activities. You have been watching Netflix for 12 hours straight. Story 78. Sorry, I haven't noticed your message. You are just as constantly online as I am. I texted you when you were online, yet it took you 2 days to see my message. No, sorry, I don't believe that. Story 79. People making excuses for things they are personally responsible for. Blame shifting is lazy and manipulative. Story 80. I do not exercise and only take basic care of myself because I do not have the time. You have time. We all have time. Get up earlier. Story 81. I need a mental health day. Meanwhile, complain all you want. You can pay your bills. Story 82. When someone cancels plans, does not answer the phone, and says they fell asleep. Story 83. What you see is what you get, or I'm keeping it real. Those phrases do not permit you to be unpleasant. Story 84. I am busy. No, you are not. You just finished talking about how you went out with other friends. You are not busy. You are just prioritizing other things, and I am clearly not one of them. I am done with you wasting my time. Story 85. 2 phrases come to mind that frustrate me. 1. Set in their ways as an excuse for behavior. This is wrong. If your behavior negatively affects those around you, change. 2. I don't have time to go to the gym. Yes, you do. There are many gym setups tailored to fit into minimal time and at whatever time suits your schedule. I think that's just a lazy excuse not to exercise. Story 86. We are not actually together. We never established boundaries. I broke your things because I was mad at you. Story 87. But everybody else is doing it, or something in that context. It is funny how the overused phrase, if your friends were jumping off a bridge, is also commonly used by the same people. Story 88. My sister is self-diagnosed borderline personality disorder and obsessive-compulsive disorder. Notice I said self-diagnosed. This is her excuse for everything. Attitude, borderline personality disorder. Want to hang out? Can't. I'm bipolar and everywhere is messy. Bad parenting? Blame the wiring in her brain. She hasn't done any research on how to adapt. Pretty sure there's nothing to adapt to. But whatever. Her bipolar disorder is literally the first thing out of her mouth whenever you say anything to her. Jesus. Story 89. Anything that Generation Z tends to say anymore, it is like they are trying to speak in code or something. Story 90. Most excuses non-vegetarians make to justify eating animal products. On the other hand, I understand. I used to be like that in the past. Story 91. When people try to be tough on the internet, but when you confront them in person, they make excuses, call the police, or backpedal for being rude. Even when they are called out, they try to take back whatever they just said. Either mean it, say it, stand on it and back it up, or be quiet. Story 92. I work at a hotel. We ask every guest for their license plate number, mostly in case their car alarm goes off in the middle of the night. This way, we can identify the car and notify the owner so they can turn it off before it wakes everyone up. It also helps if the lights are left on, the door or trunk is open, or if something happens to the vehicle. I understand that not everyone knows why we ask for this information or how often they need it. However, many people overreact when asked to walk outside to check. Seriously, is a 100-foot walk there and back too much? Can't you handle a 30-second walk to get the information? Story 93. I only dress for myself. Totally valid. I roll when it is followed by, why do I not get the results I want? Story 94. I will just ask my husband. Can people not make decisions for themselves these days? Story 95. I was just about to do it. No, you were not. If you were, I would not have to remind you. Story 96. But officer, he just appeared out of nowhere. Any of these, no victim, no crime. No laws were broken. Medical emergency. They do own the road. Poor road design. Poor and confusing signage. Blue-collar worker transporting his tools. Mind your own business. But I pay road tax. You really never once made an infraction on the road? It's only a mistake. Witch hunt. Drivers who obey the law are dangerous because they are unpredictable. Speed limits are only suggestions. Maximum means minimum. You can't drive and look at your speedometer at the same time. If you place so much trust in the law that it overrides your own judgment, you shouldn't be driving. What about that time I saw a cyclist ignore a stop sign? Define bad driver. Whatever bootlicker, you should have established eye contact. But I highly doubt you know the Highway Traffic Act back to front and every rule and regulation. When someone wants to lose weight, edit. Downvoted by bad drivers. Story 97. I do not have time. Unless you have a full-time job, children, a house, are attending college, and have no maid, you have time. Scrolling, gaming, and watching television are optional. Story 98. I'm new to Reddit. How does it work? Karma is not very good. Imagine buying a car and then asking everyone to teach you how to drive. Story 99. It is not scientifically proven. People truly think we are so smart that we know it all, and if it is not proven by us, it must not be real. Story 100. There are many people who seem to defy the laws of thermodynamics. Calories in, calories out. It is as simple as that. Anyone telling you otherwise is in denial and also believes in unhealthy ideas about body size. Also, some self-diagnosed individuals with mental health issues take no responsibility by refusing to see a therapist or start medication. Story 101. I cannot. I have anxiety. No, most people are just nervous about something and feel unsure. That is not actually anxiety. Story 102. I am tired. I did not sleep well. As someone with insomnia for 5 years who lives a productive life, no one has the right to use that excuse with me. Story 103. I am not motivated enough to do anything. Story 104. My washing machine broke and flooded my apartment. You would think the same person was not audacious enough to use this excuse more than once, yet they did. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.